Welcome back, focus learners. Today, we are bringing you आज की बड़ी खबरों का deep dive. We all know the daily news cycle is just completely overwhelming. You've got hundreds of updates flashing across your screens every single hour, right? Well, we've done the heavy lifting for you. We've taken 100 of the absolute most critical global headlines from May 31st, 2026, and we've distilled them down into a single, structured, and super easy to follow explainer. So let's cut through the noise and get straight to the facts that actually matter.
Okay, let's dive into this. To make sense of everything today, we've chunked these 100 headlines into 6 really clear themes. We're starting with the sports IPL final, then moving inside India, zooming out to global geopolitics, checking on energy and economy, looking at tech innovation, and finally wrapping up with climate and global health. Section 1. Sports. The IPL 2026 final.
What's absolutely fascinating today is the stark contrast between the massive fan excitement and the intense behind-the-scenes logistics. Today's colossal final between Royal Challengers Bangalore and Gujarat Titans has demand so high that Akasa Air actually had to add special flights. We're talking massive fireworks and a huge closing ceremony. But on the flip side of that excitement, the Bangalore police have issued a very strict advisory. They are focused heavily on cautious crowd control, especially following last year's tragic stadium stampede. It's a perfect example of how massive entertainment events require incredibly complex civic management. Section 2. Inside India, Growth and Challenges. Let's look at the rapid growth trends driving the country right now, because the infrastructure and digital adoption data is honestly staggering. Electric vehicle sales and charging networks are expanding rapidly right alongside major physical infrastructure plans for metros and highways. At the same time, the digital economy is just surging. UPI and digital payments are continually setting new records. But here's a really interesting ripple effect for you. Because of rising fuel prices, the carpooling app BlaBlaCar is seeing a massive boom, literally turning India into its largest market. And on the political front, we're seeing momentum too, with the Assam cabinet expansion scheduled for June 5th. However, that rapid growth is definitely balanced by some immediate domestic challenges. Millions of students are currently impacted by severe exam controversies. The NEET Miracle exam's so-called leak-proof protection mechanisms are facing heavy questioning right now after reported failures. Meanwhile, technical glitches in the CUET undergraduate exams have quite literally left students stranded. And on the civic front, major editorials are flagging Delhi's severe dust pollution. They aren't just calling it an environmental issue, they're highlighting it as a critical failure of urban governance. Section 3. Global Geopolitics, Border Tensions and Conflicts. Let's move to the global stage and see how this builds. We begin with the escalating situation in Eastern Europe. According to today's reports, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has stated that Russia is preparing for a major attack. In response to this specific intelligence, Ukraine's air defense systems have been placed on high alert, and Zelensky is urgently pushing the international community for stricter sanctions against Russia. And, shifting global instability like that triggers immediate regional defense responses. In a really major step for its defense modernization, India is currently requesting proposals to acquire advanced fifth-generation fighter jets. It's a very clear signal that military readiness is a top priority right now amid these shifting global power dynamics. And those shifting dynamics are creating rapid-fire flashpoints all over the map. The United Nations has made a highly sensitive move by adding both Israel and Russia to its conflict sexual violence blacklist, a decision drawing strong reactions from all sides involved. Over in the Middle East, U.S.-Iran tensions are flaring up again. Iran is claiming recent U.S. strikes violate ceasefire understandings, which obviously makes any future talks incredibly difficult. Meanwhile, in Asia, Japan is officially raising concerns over China's rapid military buildup. And in a very rare diplomatic moment, we also saw brief military contact and security exchanges between U.S. commanders and Cuban military officials. So, looking at all these global flashpoints, you might be asking yourself, how does a conflict thousands of miles away in the Middle East, specifically around the Strait of Hormuz, directly affect your wallet today? That brings us to Section 4, Energy, Economy, and Market Trends. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive ripple effect of geopolitical tension. Major energy players like Exxon and Chevron are warning that a wider Iran conflict could severely tighten global oil supplies. The World Bank is echoing this exact sentiment, warning of major energy price spikes for 2026. For India, which imports massive amounts of crude oil, this expensive oil puts direct downward pressure on the Indian rupee. Ultimately, expensive energy makes fertilizer more expensive, which makes food more expensive, sparking a very real risk of global inflation returning.
Yet, despite all these fears of inflation and global conflict, massive amounts of capital are still flowing. At $17.6 billion, the deal being made by billionaire Tillman Fertitta to acquire Caesars Entertainment is an absolutely staggering move in the casino and hospitality industry. It proves that high-stakes corporate acquisitions are actively pushing forward totally regardless of the geopolitical climate. But where is the rest of the market actually putting its money right now? Well, investors are currently flocking to safe havens. Gold is experiencing high demand as investors look for security amidst those Middle East tensions. Silver is also rising, but notably, that's due to increasing industrial demand for solar panels and electronics. And quite significantly, the Indian economy remains a standout. According to the finance ministry, despite all this global uncertainty, the Indian economy officially remains highly stable and resilient. Section 5. Tech Innovation and the AI Revolution. Now, what's really interesting about this next topic is the human element behind the tech. This incredible technological leap forward isn't without cultural friction. Actress Emily Blunt recently expressed genuine fear over the use of artificial intelligence in a new Steven Spielberg film. It perfectly highlights the intense, ongoing debate in Hollywood and honestly across all creative industries right now about the role of AI, automation, and human artistry. But while Hollywood debates, the tech and defense sectors are just sprinting ahead. Billions of dollars are currently pouring into the AI investment boom. And because AI requires massive computing power, the semiconductor manufacturing race is heating up rapidly between the US, China, Taiwan, and India. Beyond silicone, we're seeing the private space tourism industry expand, while India's ISRO is actively preparing for ambitious new deep space missions. And quietly in the background, research into quantum computing is steadily advancing, setting the stage for the next massive technological leap. Section 6. Climate and Global Health Updates. The headlines today present a very stark warning from scientists. We're seeing a documented global increase in extreme weather events. Across Asia, severe, record-breaking heat waves are becoming a massive concern. Conversely, in India, the Meteorological Department has just issued widespread alerts for severe thunderstorms, squally winds, and hailstorms. And beneath all of this, widespread water scarcity and the rapid depletion of groundwater remain a critical, long-term threat to global stability. On the global health front, humanitarian aid flights are currently rushing supplies to the Congo to respond to a concerning Ebola outbreak in Africa, while global vaccine research for emerging diseases continues to progress. But we also have some genuinely positive environmental news today. Through dedicated captive breeding and release efforts, India is actually seeing a successful comeback of its endangered vulture populations. It's a really great reminder that targeted wildlife protection and ocean conservation programs can indeed yield real, tangible results. So we've covered a tremendous amount of ground. To synthesize all of this, let's look at the top 5 biggest news stories straight from our sources today. We have the IPL final dominating sports and culture, the Russia-Ukraine tension driving geopolitics, the Iran oil market crisis threatening global energy security, India's push for fifth-gen jets highlighting defense modernization, and finally, the massive billions pouring into the AI investment boom defining the global tech race. So the crucial point is this. When you strip away the daily noise of those 100 headlines, you are left with these 6 overarching themes defining 2026. The AI revolution, the fragile state of global energy security, the undeniable momentum of the India growth story, the pressing reality of climate change, escalating geopolitical tensions, and the rapid expansion of the digital economy. If you understand these 6 pillars, you understand the forces shaping the world today. Which leaves us with one final, absolutely critical question for you to consider. With AI advancing this rapidly and the geopolitical map shifting on a daily basis, how will these massive macro trends reshape your own career and your own investments by the end of 2026? Take a mental snapshot of those 6 themes, think about how they apply to your everyday life, and stay focused. Thank you so much for joining this explainer, and keep learning.